We have been learning about authors and illustrators. This book was illustrated by Eric Carle because Eric Carle painted the pictures. Eric Carle is an illustrator. He's an artist who paints pictures for books. Eric Carle is also the author of this book because he writes the words in this book. In this book, A House for a Hermit Crab, he paints a hermit crab. And you can see in the hermit crab shell that it's almost these little speckles, like it's a splatter art. We have already painted our splatter art picture and a handprint. On our splatter art picture, we are going to trace a CD. So on the back of my paper, not where the splatter art is, I'm going to trace this CD all the way around. And then I'm going to draw it coming up and then around here to connect to it. Then I'm going to erase this line here that is in between. Then I'm going to very carefully and very slowly cut out my shell. You can see that I've already started mine, but I'm going to finish it now. Very carefully and slowly cutting out my shell. Then we're going to cut out our hand. So this is now trash, and we're just going to keep this part. We're going to set that to the side. I'm going to cut out my hand. I'm going to very carefully cut out around the hand, leaving just a little bit of white space around the hand. So you kind of almost have to imagine that there's a line going around the fingers and around the hand, because I'm not going to cut all the way to the blue. Notice that I'm not cutting off each finger. I want it to look like a hand when I'm finished. Once I get this hand cut out, we will arrange it on our black paper to look like a hermit crab. Each little finger will look like legs, and our thumb here can look like a head. Okay, now this part is trash, so I'm going to set that to the side. Now I'm going to take my black paper. We're going to make sure our name is on it. So I'm going to put my name. You will write your name and our chair number. And then we're going to flip it over to our names on the back. I'm going to take this here, and before I actually start, I'm going to draw the swirl that is on the crab shell, that is. And so I started here, and I'm coming up and around. I'm kind of following the shell, and then I'm going to swirl around and then to the middle. I used a blue colored pencil for this, and I used a white colored pencil to write my name on the black paper. Then I'm going to arrange this to see if I can make it look like a hermit crab. There we go, maybe something like that. Then we're going to take the two blue pieces of paper and make them look like the eyes that are coming out. So maybe like that. Now that I have it looking the way I want it to, I'm going to glue it down. So I'm going to leave this right here, and I'm going to take the hand, and I'm going to put just a little bit of glue. Now, our glues may be screwed shut, or there might not be any glue coming out of them. If there's extra glue at the top of the cap that's dried, we'll have to pick that off. Then we're going to press it down on the paper where it's actually touching the paper, And then I'm going to trace all the way around this. If you're better at doing just dots, you can just do a few dots, and that's okay too. I'll do dots on the next one, but it needs to be very little glue. Not a lot of glue at all, just a very thin line. Then I'm going to hold it where I wanted it, and I'm going to glue it down. It's kind of in the middle of my paper, a little off to the right here. Then I'm going to take my seashell. This I'm going to do dots to show you. You can do either way, but notice that they're not big globs of dots. They're little thin dots that's going around. Remember, it does not take a lot of glue to glue down a piece of paper to another paper. Put just one dot in the middle there. It does not take a lot of glue. They're very thin, small dots. Then the part that curves up here, that's the part that I want to overlap the hand. Just like that. And then I'm going to take my two blue sheets of paper and I'm going to put just a couple little dots on it. One on each end and one in the middle. Camera's rocking here. Then I'm going to stick it just barely underneath that shell. It's still not glued down yet, so I can stick it under that shell. I'm going to do the same thing to the other one. Now it looks like two antennas sticking out there, and on the ends of these we're going to put eyes. And they might even have long antennas or short antennas. It's either one. I have these dots that I've already punched out using a hole puncher. I'm going to put one little dot on the blue, at the very end of the blue paper, and then I'm going to take my white dot from the hole puncher, and I'm going to stick it on that dot and leave it alone, and it'll dry. I'm going to put a dot on the other one, and I'm going to do the same thing, and then let it dry. There we go. There's our blue hermit crab. In the book, there was a red hermit crab, but there's also blue hermit crabs. And we made a blue one because I had blue ink for our handprints.